All right, let's jump in here to Pat Mayse Lake using the Navionics mobile app to look at the contours on this lake and see what we can find from an offshore perspective. If you missed the Google Earth breakdown for Pat Mayse, just go out to the lake breakdown playlist. You'll see it out there. You'll also see a lot of other lakes out there. We have hundreds of lakes that we've broken down. We've got videos for a ton of them. Then we also have a lot of videos that we're still, on schedule to do later on this year, more next year. Who knows how long it's going to take us? But go out, check out the website, simplisticfishing.com, and you'll see all the lakes that we have broken down. All right, let's go ahead and jump into this thing and let's take a look at it. Down here by the dam is where we're going to start. We're going to work our way basically north and west, and then we'll circle our way back down the south and work our way up the eastern bank line. So as we get over here on the dam, obviously the dam is always a good place to fish, right? You can always find good stuff down by the dam, but there's some key spots down here that I really think you should take a look at. And the first one's going to be up here in the corner up here. So this one right here. You can tell it has a really good top to it, like real shallow top to it, has some good breaks on each side, some really deep water access. There's even a little saddle here in between the two areas. So just a really good looking offshore spot. And then when we pull back here, another one that could be a decent one would be right out here. You notice how we've got some shallow timber or something like that going on through here. And then as we move on up, we get out here, you'll start to see these little humps. There's one at 16 foot, and there's one a little bit further out here that looks like it's about 16 foot as well. So that could be a pretty good productive area going out Carolina rigging, deep crank and stuff like that. It's that time of year to get out there and do that. Now, as we move a little bit further down, just kind of looking at these points, looking for any types of big breaks or big drops or really sharp contours. You're always looking for these places where it gets really, really dark, or a place where it comes up and gets open like that. Basically you almost see a circle. That means you've got some type of a flat area or a hump or something like that. So right here, we talked about that could be good. Also right in here, this could be decent as well. Now this one, when you zoom into it, it doesn't necessarily look as good, but it could be one of those little secret spots that you could go find. Now we move over here. This one just looks absolutely gorgeous. It's got the nice top on it. It's kind of tapered down. It's got good breaks on both sides. Nice access to deep water. And then you've also got even these little tight contours back on the back side of this point, which means that's going to be some pretty sharp edges, pretty sharp bank for you to fish around as well. And then you've got the same thing right here. Look how sharp these contours are right around this little point. All right, let's pull this back. I'm going to go on back down. We're going to move on up here to about, I'd say we're midway up the lake now. And this area right in here, this just looks like one of those areas that I would definitely spend some time on, because you've got a lot of good stuff going on right here, right in this little bitty area. You can see, like we talked about earlier, we've got a lot of these really dark contours. I mean, this is so thick, it just looks dark gray. So you've got some massive drops going on in there. You probably have a little bit more in here. There's a little defined little point there. There's one back here. There's this one looks like the community hole of all community holes right here. So let's take a look at these and just look and see why why am I saying that these are going to be a good spots? Well, right here, this is a nice rounded point with that big drop that we were talking about, right? So you're going to basically go from 5 foot to about 32 foot pretty quickly. So there's some type of a ledge or some type of a drop going on in that area. The other thing to look at here too when you're scanning is you've actually got two other points here that jet out. So you've got this one that's right here, and you've got another one that's right here. Both of those can be productive as well, depending on if there's any debris, brush, stuff like that that's down there. But definitely taking a look around that point. And then if we move over here to this side, we've kind of got the same thing, right? We've got this point that comes out with a nice big hump on it and then major breaks all around it. And it's going to be really easy to find because if you see the buoy, you're going to be right up on it. So definitely take a look at that. And then we were talking earlier about those really sharp contours. Well, if we look up here on this corner right here, we've got that exactly what we're looking for. We've got some really, really sharp contours, really sharp bank line, really sharp little point there that you could take a look at. All right, and then we're going to move up here. There's not too much going into the back here because it does get pretty shallow, but I did notice that we've got a pretty decent little point that's right here as well. And then again, pay attention to these places where you see those really sharp contours. Even right here as well, off the side of this point, off the back side right in here, this could be good as well. I didn't mark it because it's not really necessarily offshore, but you stay offshore and cast towards the bank, but it's kind of almost like bank beating, but still you want to take a look at those. And then we're going to move over here, and this is going to be the same type thing again. You see this really sharp contour. Notice how this Kurt guy, almost every time you get around those sharp contours, he's got something there. So you may want to check that out. But what I like here is out here. You see this pretty tight contour lines that go up here, and then they get flat here. Well, right there before it gets flat, like where it's tight, and then it starts to come up to the point, those are always like really good areas, or off the tip of the point. So definitely go check that out. I think that's going to be a good point for you. The rest of this back in here, we get into some flooded timber, we get into some shallow stuff. So we're not going to mark any offshore stuff there. I'm not saying there's no fish back there, because there probably is, and there's probably even offshore stuff back there. But there wasn't really anything back there that really just jumped out to me. I think probably the biggest thing, if I'm looking back here, would probably be like this area and just checking out and see if you have anything in here. It looks like you got some stumps in there, a shallow little area. There's a boat ramp that's fairly close to it. So maybe something going on right in here. That could actually end up being a community spot. You never know. So let's keep moving up, see what else we find on this bank line. We're kind of seeing the same thing. We've got some pretty good contours, pretty deep water right through this area, but I didn't see any really like good points to point out to you there until I got all the way down here. And once I got down to here, I'm like, okay, now we're getting into something. I like the way this one sets up. It's kind of got this little tapered little point off to the left. Then it's really sharp right there by the point, and then it kind of comes out to another point. I like that. I like this rounded point that's up here as well with a really good drop. So it's pretty shallow up top, and then boom, a really good drop. Really like these two areas right in there. And then as we move over here a little bit further, and I'll back out and show you where I'm at. So we're back over here now. We get it over here. Of course, that's probably Kurt's spot again, but these points, not just this one, but this one too. So if this one's good, hop over and try this one as well and see if you can, maybe you can replicate the pattern that you're on there by taking a look at that. And then, if that one's good, then maybe pull the map back a little bit and say, okay, what else is? This one's probably good if that one's good. And you may even be able to find something like right in here possibly too. So just try to pay attention when you're out there, especially the offshore stuff. Try to put it all together, try to piece it all together and see what it is that is the same, amongst each one of those spots. If you can really figure out 3 or 4 general things about the spot that you're fishing and then go match at least 2 or 3 of those things in a different area, you'll be well on your way to patterning the fish and well on your way to having a great day of fishing. All right, so let's keep moving up, see what else we can find. Up here, love this. This is like a little cut in, but it makes a little point. It sounded weird when I said point there, but look at the nice contours. And again, right when those contours are starting to taper off, those are typically pretty good areas to go fish. I mean, you've got some really good drop going all around this little area. And this isolated dock, it's got to have fish on it. It just has to, just the way it's set up, where it's where it's at, and nothing being by it. It just looks really, really good. All right, so let's keep moving up, see what else we can find. We're almost back to the dam here. I think there were 19 or 20 spots that we put out here that, could be good offshore spots. So there could be some really good ones to just key in on now and then build up from there. But as we move in here, I'm going to pull this in a little bit and show you guys. Really good point right here. Love how it's long and it's tapering. This is going to be one of those good points for fall. There's probably going to be some bait up on there and stuff like that. This is going to be a really good point to fish in the fall. Then you've got the inside of that, right where that break was, where I told you get where it's really tight, where that break is, and then right where it starts to taper off. Those are good spots. Well, it just so happens that our buddy Kurt has another spot right there. And then we've got another spot out here off of this rounded point, but notice how deep those contours get there in that area. That makes it look like a really good area to fish. So then I'm going to move back out here. Of course, these main lake points are always good too, but really looking for things that are special here. I like this area here as well. Notice how it just pinches in and everything gets really, really tight right before it goes back in here to this area. So you could see them possibly staging up here and then moving in here. This is just a nice little kind of off the wall place, but typically I tend to find fish and stuff like that. And then as we get back here, there's not too much back here that really stuck out that does look like you might have like a road bed or something like that that goes through here. So maybe check this little spot here where it says there's a crappie hole. If there's crappie there, there's bass there. So definitely go check that out. And then the last place would probably be right here where this little point starts to kind of come out and you notice that there's a little bit of a ledge there or something going on there. So that could be a good spot to check out too, but it might not be anything at all. It could just be the contours messing with me. So we got two more spots here to talk to you guys about. One's going to be back here. You got this big bay that comes back here, you know, shallow water and all of that, but you got this really deep spot that's on this side. So this bank line's that deep bank line. And again, you're going to see me hit this a lot, but notice how super deep it is and then it just tapers off, right, and goes into more of a flat that's up here. That spot right in there, that's the hot spot that you'll want to take a look at. Then I'm going to move on up. Last thing is going to be right here, kind of similar to what we were just talking about. Again, you know, you got this deep stuff and it comes back here. It gets really deep right in here. But, you know, anywhere right in this little area should be a good area for them to collect in. They're also going to be able to push that bait up against the dam and all that. So that can make it a really productive area. So, guys, that covers us for Pat Mayse Lake. Please make sure to go out, check out our website, simplisticfishing.com. Like I said, we've got Pat Mayse Lake out there. We've also got hundreds of other lakes up there, almost every lake in Texas. I think there's only a few that we might be missing. And then we went out and we actually went into multiple states as well. So definitely go check it out, simplisticfishing.com. It'll help out the channel. And until next time, guys, I hope you catch your PB. Take it easy.